Welcome back to the BTS Happy Hour podcast. I'm your host, Andrea. Joining me as always is Morgan.
Hey, what's up?
So this weekend, it would have been
BTS concert.
Yeah, it's a little bittersweet. As you know, we're all still under quarantine and whatnot all over the country. So yes, we're still sheltering in place. We're still waiting to see what's going to happen. But it would have been this weekend if coronavirus didn't happen. So that's unfortunate.
That's unfortunate, but hey, you know, it's not I don't want to complain about it too much. It's a very first world problem-ish, right? We can't see a concert. It's not the worst thing. It's postponed. We'll see it eventually.
We're past the worst of it, in my opinion. I think only New York is in the U.S. is in a really bad place right now.
I think technically California is still going to... I think the worst is this week or next week. But even the worst is not going to be, cataclysmic or anything. We're on a different schedule than other states, is all I'm saying. Large events are not going to happen for a while, so you just don't know. They may even be postponed for 6 months. It's possible.
Yeah, I don't even like talking about coronavirus. It's just giving it more power to keep talking about it. It's that's what all the news you consume and everything you hear about. It's that's all.
It's the only thing to talk about. There's nothing really going on. So
yeah, it's ridiculous. It's I'm just really glad for this to all be over, and I think I'm just hoping we're towards the end of it because it's it's ruining everything.
It's at least things don't seem as bad as some people projected.
Yeah, I mean, if we're at the point where some states are talking about reopening, then I think we're moving in a good direction. So
yeah, all you can do is sort of trust decision makers and scientists to sort of get together and make the right choice.
So last weekend was Bang Bang Con, and right before that, RM had a live stream on YouTube on April 17th, and it was just for 12 minutes. But what was notable about it is normally for a live, normally they would use VLive for something like that, where it's just going to be a member talking about whatever and talking to fans.
Yeah.
But this time they used YouTube, so that was different. So I'm wondering if they did that just because it was going to be right before Bang Bang Con and they wanted people to be paying attention to YouTube more, or if they intend to use YouTube more in the future instead of VLive. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
My guess is that they do intend to use YouTube more because VLive is very specific to Korea, right?
I think so, because I only see K-pop groups on there.
But YouTube is pretty prevalent worldwide.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to be a worldwide, not want to be, BTS is at this point, but, just logistically reaching, their fans will go to VLive, right? But they want to be even bigger, clearly. Right. YouTube is just bigger. It reaches more people. So it just makes sense. It just makes more sense. It's a video sharing platform. There's nothing it can't do that VLive does, as far as I'm aware.
Right.
The only real difference is that it reaches more people. So why would you, if one platform reaches more people, why would you really opt for a platform that reaches fewer people?
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably will try to use more YouTube in the future. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing to be alarmed about or anything, but it just makes sense.
Yeah, I do think it's a move on their part to gain more of the international audience. And it also has to do with using Weverse more, because that's their app, so they're going to use that a lot, and then they're going to use YouTube more and maybe try to move away from VLive a little, which seems to be mostly just K-pop groups and just Koreans that are using it.
I would think that they should move away from that. There's nobody who watches VLive that can't also watch a YouTube, as far as I'm aware, right?
Yeah.
But there's a ton of people who really don't know anything about VLive.
Yeah.
Who watch YouTube all the time.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that if they're a new BTS fan, they don't know anything about VLive.
Right. They would love to get that content. And keep in mind that, sure, if you're a diehard fan, which many BTS fans are, you'll seek them out on VLive. But you don't want to make people seek you out anywhere, right? You probably would. It would just make sense to sort of go to where they are, and most people are on YouTube or viewing YouTube already. Mm-hmm. So why not go there? It doesn't cost money. It's not logistically difficult for them. So go to. I would imagine they're switching to YouTube, but it's not. It doesn't indicate that they're abandoning Korea or anything like that.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
In this one YouTube live stream, RM, it was pretty short. It was only like 12 minutes, where normally their V lives are like an hour or so usually. But in this one, RM was talking about, we're going to start using YouTube more, and he was talking about this. There's going to be a weekly log with each member on YouTube to stay connected with the fans as this pandemic continues. And he was talking about they're going to start their new album already, so they're going to get into that process and showing fans along the way. And he didn't necessarily agree with doing that, because I think he might be the kind of artist that just wants you to see the finished product and not, what's happening along the way. Mm-hmm. But I think it sounds like Big Hit is trying to have them show, more of their interactions and like the creation of a song. And maybe it's because there isn't anything else to look at along the way. It's like that's just something for us to see while they're not on a tour. I think that's good. I just hope that they add the translations to it, because when I checked, and it was like a day later after he did this log, it's like there was no English translation. So I hope they are using their team, because it's like they hired people to do translations. So
that's right.
I hope they're translating all of these live stream things too. And the other sign that they're going to use YouTube more is that they started a playlist. So they're going to add, all the like live streams that they do with the members to that same playlist. So that's something to watch for. Although, if you have notifications to Bangtan TV, you're going to see all of these anyway. So
I think it's good. More casual Western audience, they're not really familiar with like all of this other type of material. They just, they listen to your music, they watch your music videos. That's it. They don't consume all the stuff that diehard fans have been consuming on V Live. And, like we said, the part of K-pop appeal is that you're sort of closer, you're more, groups are more accessible. But they're only accessible if you go to things like V Live. And not everybody wants to go to V Live. It's just not convenient, or they just don't feel like it. So, go to where they are.
So using YouTube more instead of V Live is going to be similar to why they created Weverse. Because before Weverse, there was just like the fan cafes, which were like very difficult for, non-Korean fans to access. Like you couldn't really get like translations and stuff like that. And it's very like difficult to figure out. So if they're really going to use YouTube more, then it makes sense, because it's similar to like not using fan cafes and switching to Weverse. And then of course Bang Bang Con was last weekend, and probably a lot of you watched it. It was
we watched some of it. It was so long. It
was 2 nights, and I don't even know how long it was on both nights, because I couldn't watch all of it. It was just like so much, and I'm kind of mad at Big Hit, because I just assumed that they were gonna like stream it and then I could watch the video later, but apparently that was not the case, because so after night 1, Big Hit,
it deleted.
Yeah, it wasn't there anymore.
Was a rude surprise.
I was like, okay, if I knew that, then I would have tried to watch the first night too.
But the thing is, it's so much material. Who could watch all of it? How long was it? Like 6 hours?
I don't know. It was like 8 to 12 hours the first night, and then 8 to 12 on the second night. But the thing is, okay, I would have watched it the first night, except we had a Zoom party to go to, which was conflicting. So we went to that, and
very 2020, people are doing Zoom parties. It sucked though. We probably shouldn't have gone.
But but I was like, well, I'll just watch Bang Bang Con later, and then it got deleted later. I was like, well, great. Sorry. No one said that. No one mentioned that.
But at least it's just it's old concert footage. Although you've never seen that footage.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I can try to figure out those individual concerts and see where it is and find links to that, which is fine. And then the second night, I did watch some of it. It was like 5 hours worth, and then I got really tired. But it went on for many hours after that.
Right.
But it's like no one could watch those 2 nights. That's impossible.
Especially if you're in the United States.
It started at 8 p.m. in
and we're
Pacific
on the West
time.
Coast, so I can imagine if you're on the East Coast, what are you just watching this stuff from like 1 a.m. to 8 a.m.?
It's in the middle of the night, and then for like 8 to 12 hours, continuous.
What did it start at 8?
It started at 8 for us, so it would have started at 11 in New York.
What are you watching from 11 to 9? You're not sleeping.
Yeah, it would be an all-nighter.
I mean, I'm sure some people did it.
Yeah,
But,
I'm sure some people did, but it was like, oh my God, I'm tired. I'm trying to watch as much as possible.
Yeah, and I'm not doing that. So.
It's kind of like it's like when you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet and it's like all good food, but you can only eat so much. It's like you can't keep going, and it's like annoying because like you want to keep going, but you can't. You just can't.
It's just too much. I mean, you saw some of it. That's good. That's fine.
Yeah, I was able to appreciate their concerts. The ones I saw were from, I was like, it sounded like 2017, their tour, and it was very high quality even then, and like, you know, we saw their tour last year, and that was really good, and I feel like it was really good production values even then. It gave me some more insight into kind of the past, and like, for example, the solos that I saw, like J-Hope doing Mama, reminded me of Ego because it showed a lot of like his kid pictures and stuff like that, and so I was like, oh, okay, I can kind of see where that song came from when you see that he performed Mama, and it was like, oh, such a big production and had like a choir and everything, and you could see the evolution of that. And the other thing is that in between the concerts, they had some short videos where BTS members were just kind of talking, and it was like they're trying to fill time, and they're like, here, you know, it's important to stretch in between concerts, and you didn't really need to do that, but it was just so they could have footage of like present day, and they were wearing
important to stretch. No, it's not. It's not important to stretch at all. I played video games for like 72 hours straight.
You've done stuff where you're just sitting continuously for a long time.
Come to think of it, that's probably not healthy. But I've done it. I'm not dead. So I'm sure that if you just want to watch a BTS concert for 9 or 10 hours straight, you'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's harmful to your health.
No, it's not. I'm sure you'll go to the bathroom and, you know, just in that act, you'll get some, you know, stretching. Right? So.
But I do think the purpose of those videos, it wasn't necessarily about the stretching or the...
I was just to fill the gaps.
Yeah, but then they also were showing videos. But I think the reason was because it was showing them wearing the new merch from the tour.
Oh, to sell the new merch. Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
So people were like, oh, what's that from? I want to buy that sweatshirt or that t-shirt. And then it was like 1 or 2 days later, it was available on the Weverse shop. So I thought that was pretty
Although, who buys any clothing during coronavirus?
I don't know. A lot stuff got sold out though. I don't know. People were like,
if you're a BTS fan.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. So anyway, the point is, it's really hard, even for a person who loves buying clothing, to buy clothing because it just feels like I'm not using any of it, and I don't know when I will. So it's a very, very hard sell. But this is more like, you know, memorabilia.
Yeah, this is like product placement. It's
right.
Like, oh, what are they wearing?
It's not like suits or shoes.
What I did like about their new merch is that it was either like white t-shirts or black sweatshirts with graphics on it. It wasn't anything crazy or anything really colorful. Isn't it always that?
It's always that though, right?
No, like the last album, Map of the Soul Persona, had a lot of colorful different things.
Really?
But this, it seems like this merch is like black or white. And I think that's more universal. Like people are more likely to buy like a black sweatshirt with something on it or a white t-shirt with something on it.
Well, you didn't buy any.
No, I didn't. Yeah. If I was gonna impulse buy, it would have to be in person because I'm not just gonna like do something on their website.
Well, if you're gonna impulse buy, they really need to streamline their operations because when you go to a BTS concert, it's like a 2-hour line to stand in the merch line to buy something. I'm not gonna stand in a 2-hour line to buy anything, man. Even if I needed medication to save my life, if it was 2 hours, I would think twice and think, do I really want to wait 2 hours or should I just die?
Exactly. They need to make it so easy to just spend money.
And you might say, well, why are you so impatient? Why are you being so entitled and being impatient? Why can't you wait in line? It's like, hey, man, you're the one that wants me to spend my money. You're the one who wants me to pay, I'm guessing like $70, $80 for a sweatshirt, right? That's probably what it is at a concert, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should make it as easy as possible. You're wanting me to overpay for a sweatshirt. You should probably make it as easy as possible. Because the last concert we're in is like 2 hours for the merch line.
It was like such a massive line. It was like, we're not even getting in that line. I don't even want to.
Yeah, I'm not. No, absolutely not.
And the thing is, you could say, oh, well, it's really easy to buy stuff on Weverse. But then it's very easy for me to avoid Weverse. Like,
Right.
I might want that merch, but it's so easy to just not even go to that website. So it needs to be like in person and very easy if you want me to spend money on stuff.
Right. And they have the ability, I think, because they were able to make the in-person lines for the light
For the
sticks.
Army Bomb?
Those went very fast.
Yeah, that line
They were much
went
more efficient.
really
So I don't know
quickly.
why the merch line couldn't be as efficient. Is it manpower? I don't know. And we're willing to spend it as overpriced as these sweatshirts are. I mean, all concert, it's not like just them. It's always overpriced at a concert or whatever. But, if you're there.
But if it's so easy
Yeah.
to just spend money and it's like there's
Yeah.
no line and it's like, oh, look at that
Then
stuff.
more people will buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, once we're there in person, we'll see what happens. And maybe this has to do with being at the Rose Bowl. I don't know if Rose Bowl versus Levi is like any different, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah, true. Rose Bowl is terrible. Although the Rose Bowl has like a large outdoor area. I don't think Levi's does.
Also during Bang Bang Con, there were some weird tweets from Alec Benjamin.
Who's that?
He's an artist who I'm not really into his kind of music. It's very like kind of emo and slower music, I guess. But
Oh, the type of person I wouldn't like then. Okay.
yeah. But he is, apparently Jimin is a big fan of him because anytime Jimin has a Spotify playlist, he has like a couple Alec Benjamin songs on there. And then I like listen to them, I'm like, oh, okay, this is really not really what I would listen to, but okay, whatever.
Fine.
I guess Jimin likes it.
All right.
And in 2019, Alec Benjamin was in Korea and he had some concerts and he was like, hey, Jimin, if you want to show up to my concert, you could or whatever. And then like Jimin was there and this was like during their break, I think.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, Jimin's a fan of him. And then after that, Alec Benjamin was like, he was posting on Twitter. He was like super open about like, hey, I really want to collab with BTS. I really want to work with you guys. It was like kind of like being like over the top about it. I was like, you really shouldn't just say that out on Twitter. If you're a musician, you should have your people like contact them and see what happens. But I was like, okay, well, whatever. Maybe he really wants to work with BTS. So that's how he wants to go about doing that. But anyway, so that's the background of who that is. Like he's someone who he knows about BTS and he wants to work with them. So during Bang Bang Con though, he had some like really weird tweets and it's like now it's like, okay, maybe they shouldn't work with him just because of what was in these tweets. Although he may have been drinking or something and that was...
What did they say? I have no idea.
Well, okay, it's called Bang Bang Con, right? And
correct, I know that.
It's called that for various reasons because it's like Bangtan Boys and I think
Bang
means room. So it was like... It had a meaning and...
Yeah, just like the... Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so then like... But the things he tweeted, it was like, oh, just tuned into Bang Bang Con. It's amazing, but putting my pants back on because I was expecting something else. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry I said that, but Bang Bang Con really does sound like a porno convention. And so like he just had a couple of tweets like along those lines, like comparing it to like the name of it to porn. And it was like, okay, that's like not even funny and that's weird and you're uncomfortable to read. So I don't even know why you would say that. But I mean, maybe he just thought he was being funny and... Yeah,
he probably thought he was making a joke.
Just playing on the name of it. But it was like, he later deleted it because people were like, that's really disrespectful or that's really inappropriate and this and that.
Well...
I mean, no one tried to cancel him, but it was just like...
I mean, you'll always... You'll get people on Twitter to say you should delete stuff pretty much no matter what you post. It kind of sounds like he was just trying to make a joke to me.
Yeah. And I just like kept going with it even though it like wasn't that funny.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was like...
Some people are not very funny.
He was just... I don't think he was trying to like insult or like offend anybody. It was just like he thought it was funny and it just wasn't.
Some people make jokes that are puns. You guys, like what puns are? Everybody should know what a pun is, right? Oh, they're like what old people do.
I hate puns.
When they try to be funny, right? And like every single time a person tries to make a pun, and this person is almost always over the age of 50, okay? I just want to murder that person. Because I hate puns. I don't find them funny, okay? But at the same time, I wouldn't say, oh, this person is a weirdo or a pervert or they should be canceled. It's like I just think you're not funny. And jokingly, I also think you should be put to death. But not really. That's just a joke. Maybe 10% of me does think that. But hey, people do things that are not funny Maybe somebody else does think it's funny. That's the thing. That's the thing about humor, right? Somebody's got to find puns funny. There's no other reason why they've lasted this long in the English language, and probably in other languages too. Come to think of it, people have to find it funny. Not me, and I hate them. But I'm not gonna get too worked up about it if somebody uses puns. And some people, they do like risque jokes, like haha, it has that word in it. And it's kind of juvenile, sure. As long as it doesn't seem malicious or anything, I think it's okay. It just wasn't funny for the majority of people. For me, it's fine, but they probably should not collaborate with him either. He doesn't seem like it's that important of a person. So
yeah, and I don't know how his music would even work with BTS, because just the kind of songs he does, it doesn't seem like it would go with what they do.
I've never heard his music, but let's just say you're right. It doesn't really go. And plus, they're the biggest act in the world now. They have to be judicious about who they collaborate with.
Well, do you think this episode would cause Big Hit to be like, no, we shouldn't work with Alec Benjamin? Or do you think they're just like, well, it really just depends on the kind of songs you do?
No, it has nothing to do with this episode. Has nothing to do. For instance, if Justin Bieber was drunk one day and was like talking about, hey, I thought it was like a porno. I thought it was Bang Bang Con. Doesn't that mean a porno or whatever? And then the next day he said, hey, BTS, do you guys want to collab? I'm sure Big Hit would say, sure, let's collab with Justin Bieber.
That's true.
Justin Bieber is Justin Bieber. I mean, for all of my negative opinions about Justin Bieber, I'm objective enough to acknowledge that he's a gigantic star. And of course, anybody who has the opportunity to collaborate with him should. I don't have to explain why. He's Justin Bieber, right? The name precedes all the explanation. So, yeah, this guy's not big enough. So
Yeah.
jokes aside, doesn't even matter.
That's true. They're just working with like the top.
They
like,
have to work with
A-list
the top people. The top people. They can even, at this point, probably refuse some top people.
Yeah.
Like if someone like Dua Lipa wanted to collaborate with them, I would say no. What does she add to them? I don't think anything, Or if like if a One Direction person wanted to collaborate with them, they should say no. Why should they say collaborate? What is that? What are they gaining from that? This is redundant audience, right? They should only collaborate with gigantic people who could maybe expand their audience.
What about like someone like Megan Thee Stallion or like Lizzo?
Well, no, not Lizzo. You know my feelings about Lizzo. I fucking hate Lizzo.
Yeah, but isn't she like A-list enough that they would work with her?
She's a very temporary A-list person.
That's true.
Okay? You will not get me off of that opinion. If they could collaborate with like Billie Eilish, that would be great. Okay? If they could collaborate with Beyonce, that would be awesome. Mm-hmm. Oh, that would be awesome because she's gigantic and I'm pretty sure that their audiences are totally different.
Right. So that would open up a whole
it would open up a whole totally new audience. And the point is there's no need for them to collaborate with any other good-looking young guy artist because I'm pretty sure that their audiences are entirely redundant. This is pragmatically, strategically, not a good idea. And this guy, I don't even know who he is, so who cares?
Well, I think that's why they had a collab with Lau, because he's kind of like the more popular version of this guy.
I think that the only reason why they collaborated with Lau is because it was decided in like 2018, late 2018.
That's true. All this stuff takes a long time to work through.
If they were to decide on a collab right now, you'd have to be A-list.
A+ list.
Yeah, you'd have to be Justin Bieber. You'd have to be
Ariana
Taylor
Grande.
Swift, Ariana Grande. Only those level of people. All right. Even Halsey, I'm not even sure she would make it. Well, she probably would because they seem like they genuinely like her.
So the big controversy this week was the whole Shallon Lester controversy, where I first saw this on Twitter. Somebody did a clip of one of her videos where she was talking about BTS, and basically she's a YouTuber who talks about celebrities all the time and usually in a negative way and just kind of gossiping about them. She's kind of known for, I think, her Selena Gomez video where she talks about, I'm not sure, I didn't watch the video, but she talks about Selena Gomez.
Celebrity gossip.
Yeah, and she's abusing her kidney that she got from her friend. And
yeah, she just has a lot of like out there opinions. Anyway, for some strange reason, I was familiar with this woman already before this.
Well, explain what you know her from.
I know her from, like, she does videos about how it's like okay to cheat on people or something. Anyway, she has a lot of dumb opinions. She's not a huge content creator. She has maybe 300,000 subscribers.
So that's not that many for YouTube?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's so many that we should be talking about it right now, but it's big enough that it sort of caught fire and Army caught wind of it and they're trying to cancel her, right? And that's why we're talking about it right now. But in the grander scheme of things, is she a really important person? No, she's not. But let's talk about what she said, right? She said that basically BTS, they look like women and they dye their hair. Why should they dye their hair? They should just feel content to look like Asian men, right? And not dye their hair, which is funny because I'm pretty sure she dyes her hair. But
she opened up a poster of BTS and was like, I don't get BTS or I don't get K-pop.
Yeah.
And was just basically, she didn't like that they were wearing contact lenses and dyed their hair.
Yeah.
And she said that you're allowed to look like an Asian man and have dark hair and dark eyes.
So basically her opinions are often, there's a case, her opinions are not well thought out. They're just kind of, now to her credit, she is a good presenter. She's pretty charismatic, right? So if you listen to her, it's sort of like other people present celebrity gossip. It's just the way they present it. If it's entertaining, then, well, you watch it, right? And she's one of those types of people.
I'm sure she's intentionally being over the top.
Yeah, and she's intentionally being over top. And she may have even been very calculated to sort of target BTS because she knows that if you say something bad about BTS, you might get more eyeballs on you, right?
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of engagement.
Yeah, so that might have been intentional on her part. Just very quickly addressing the meat of her argument, if it's even a sincere argument, which I don't know. It might have just been, just talking to rile people up. Of course it's stupid. Even if she's right, and she is right, Asian men are allowed to look however they like Asian men. And by that, she means without contacts and without hair coloring, right? Yeah, they're allowed to. Of course they're allowed to.
Yeah.
There's no law. Of course BTS can look however they want, but they're also allowed to look how they want with hair coloring and with contacts. They're also allowed to do that. I think that's plainly obvious to anybody. They're allowed to do both.
She's acting like they're forced by some standard of beauty to change their hair color and change their eye color. It's like no one's forced into anything. They want to do things.
There's a reasoned argument to be made that although not forced, they are subject to Western beauty norms that has a historical precedence, like, white people look better, this and that, which has led to people in Asian countries dyeing their hair, getting eyelid surgery, trying to look more white. All those things are true. And I think that they are true. Like, would eyelid surgery exist if Western beauty norms didn't dominate for the past 100 years or so? No, I don't think eyelid surgery would exist, right? Because then, like, Asians wouldn't feel the need to have eyelid surgery. They would just say, I'm fine looking Asian. And a lot of K-pop stars do get that eyelid surgery. A lot of K-pop stars do dye their hair.
But I don't think it's a thing where it's like the Western media is saying, like, I don't find you beautiful unless you do this. It's kind of like the Asian countries are looking at that and they're like, well, I do like how a double eyelid looks. It's kind of like they're deciding for themselves.
And there's also an argument that some people would make that, they've internalized this racism or whatever. And okay, I have things to say about that. I'm not really here to talk about that. That's a pretty complicated sociological topic to delve into. All I will say right now is beauty norms are complicated. Where they come from is not necessarily black and white. Is a lot of it influenced by, Western society being dominant for the past 100 years, 50, 100 years or so? Yeah, sure. Is that why eyelid surgeries exist? Is that why Asians dye their hair? Yeah, maybe. There's a good argument to be made that that's the case. But at the same time, they still have the right to do all of those things. And even in the West, there's a lot of beauty norms that, what is the origin of these beauty norms, right? We can dissect them, we can deconstruct them all we want. But still, individuals have the right to, look how they want. Yeah, like, who are you to say, no, I think you should stay true to your quote unquote race and not conform to this stuff. Like, hey, lady, it's too late. Right? This is one of the things that I often say to people when they say, well, you only think that so-and-so XYZ is beautiful because of this and that cultural construct that has created these beauty norms over the past 100 years. Like, okay, maybe, but this is what I find beautiful, right? So I can't get that out of my head, and this is just what I was born into, and I'm living with it now. And this is just what I find beautiful. The end. I'm sorry. I'm not going to, and maybe I can go through some sort of like, Clockwork Orange deprogramming thing. Like, I don't know if, I mean, it's a super old film, but in Clockwork Orange, where they like pry your eyes open and force you to watch stuff and deprogram yourself and say, no, this is not beautiful. White people are not more beautiful than Asian people. I don't want to bother going through that. Okay. I just want to live my life. So whatever I find beautiful is what I find beautiful. And yeah, other Asians are going to conform to these sort of same standards. We don't need to be saved from this quote unquote social construct.
Yeah, that's what I
don't.
didn't like about her video it just seemed condescending. It's like, you're allowed to look Asian. It's like, well, they know that. Yeah. They could look however they want.
Yeah, they periodically dye their hair black. They know that. They don't need your permission. Trust me. But they have, for good or bad, internalized these Western beauty standards that says fair hair, fair skin. Actually, not even fair skin, because Asians have always thought fair skin is better.
Yeah, Asians independent of
the West.
They like
but
lighter
fair hair,
skin.
double eyelid. Maybe that's all inherited from these Western beauty norms that we've had to live under, that have dominated us. Who cares? It's a very first world problem. So some more people get this double eyelid surgery. Some more people dye their hair. Who cares? It's really not up to Shallon Lester to say, hey, I free you from having to adhere to this standard, guys. It's like, whoa, that's wonderful that you have, by your grace, have decided that I can go ahead and just look like a natural Asian man. Thank you very much. And the other thing is, even living under those beauty standards, it's not that oppressive. It really isn't. We're not in chains here or anything. Let's have some perspective. It's not that bad. And she thinks that they look like women. That's fine too. That's subjective, right? That's fine. Some people maybe think they look like women. That's fine.
And it's like the poster she was looking at, BTS, they're one of the more natural looking groups. So they weren't even like wearing a lot of makeup or anything like that. And it was just like, just her opinions were just so ridiculous and over the top. Like, they didn't even look like women. They look like Asian men, and they look fine. They don't even have surgery, I don't even think, but maybe they do. But it's like, that's not even an example of, I don't even think they look feminine in the poster she was talking about. It was more because the thing is with K-pop groups, their big thing is to be youthful and to look young. Oh. So I think it's more an issue of that than, they're trying to look, ambiguous or anything like that, or trying to look like women. Like, that's not even what they were trying to do.
Yeah, and that's totally subjective. So,
But yeah, this Shallon Lester, for whatever reason, a couple weeks ago, we knew about her because we saw one of her videos that was about how to cheat on your man and get away with it. It's like, that's one of her like older videos.
She has some pretty controversial videos.
She's not the most upstanding moral character, so
no, and it's fine. Other people have just tried to attack her based on some of her questionable videos in the past, and she has a lot of questionable stuff, but I'm not even gonna go there. I don't care. She's not a big enough person to really care about her questionable material. She wants to think they look like women, then whatever.
I think that's just her.
Doesn't bother me.
Her pattern is just to say controversial things or things that are going against the grain, and that's the only theme you can see here.
And I think that maybe even giving her extra attention is sort of playing into her hands. This may be what she wants. So she's not that big of a creator. I would suggest, if you're a BTS fan, just sort of ignore her. If it was a big superstar and they were saying negative things, then maybe that's something you want to push back against because they have more influence, right? But I don't think she has very much influence. So
yeah, and if you want to see what this is all about, maybe you didn't even hear about this until just now, but if you want to see what that's all about, there's some other creators that are doing criticism videos of her. So if you're looking at like D'Angelo Wallace or this Keisha Shade, I think is her name.
Yeah, just a YouTuber name. Yeah, YouTuber name. There's a lot of people doing reaction videos. I don't know if you want to get sucked into it. It's interesting. If you have some free time and you don't feel like you get too worked up over it, then go ahead and watch it for entertainment.
Yeah, if you want to see some YouTube drama.
Yeah, but as far as like really, really caring about what this person is saying about BTS, it's just a small-time YouTube creator that has some stuff to say about BTS. It's not anything I would engage with or care about very much.
Yeah, it's YouTube. It's like everybody has an opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody has a platform.
Yeah, I don't.
It's just like the world. I was watching on Twitter. I saw news about a UK K-pop girl group that is going to debut on April 29th called Kaachi. I don't understand where they got that name from, but it's like Kaachi.
So I saw the video. Do they even sing in Korean? I don't understand how this is classified as a K-pop group.
I don't know. That's what's really puzzling about
They
it.
didn't sing in Korean as far as I could tell. So like they're not Korean and they don't sing in Korean. So how are they a K-pop group? And from the few comments that I read, of course people are outraged, right? Not on YouTube because all the comments on YouTube are shut off. But in some other sites I saw people comment and most people are of course outraged.
People were making fun of them.
Or at least ridiculing it. I don't ridicule it. I mean, they're a small-time group. I'm not here to rain on their parade and rag on them too much. Like, I wish you success. I don't care. It's fine. I'm not angry at it. I do scratch my head, though. Like, I don't see how this is K-pop. If it just feels like they just want to jump on the bandwagon of something is hot and say, this is K-pop. But it's not K-pop.
It really did seem like this. They just kind of slapped something together, and it's 4 girls, and they're, I don't know, I guess they all live in the UK, since it's UK based, but it's like, one girl was Venezuelan, one girl was Spanish, another girl, maybe she was half Korean, I'm not sure. But
listen, I don't think that you have to be Korean for it to be K-pop, because like just factually speaking, there's K-pop groups out there that have Korean and also other nationalities.
Yeah. I'm not saying you have to be Korean.
There's people who are Chinese, people who are Thai. I mean, you can say, well, they're kind of Asian. Like, okay, true, but they're not Korean. And go up to an Asian person and say, hey, Thai, Chinese, Korean, that's all kind of the same, right? No, they disagree with you pretty vociferously. They're not all just kind of the same. These are different nationalities. They're different ethnicities. But these other ethnicities, they have been in K-pop groups and people accept it, right? They accept it in Blackpink and GOT7, right? So I'm not saying that, it can't be K-pop because not everybody's Korean. But if it's K-pop, shouldn't at least some other people be Korean, number one? Number 2, shouldn't they sing some lyrics in Korean?
Yeah.
Or number 3, shouldn't it be like a Korean-based company?
Like a training.
Yeah. I'm just thinking it should be some combination of these, right? Before we classify it as K-pop. Now, I'm pretty sure that they're just, throwing that tag on there, just trying to get some, because it's hot right now. Fine. I don't consider it K-pop.
You know what's funny is like they think, we just label this K-pop, that will get so many views and so many like this and that and so many fans. It's like what you don't know if you're a British person putting this group together is that K-pop fans are the most critical fans there are. So if anybody is like,
let's turn off the comments.
No, yeah, if there's anyone the least bit like doesn't look right or a little bit overweight or can't dance or like they're gonna get destroyed in comments,
Right, that's true.
So it's like, just because you label something K-pop, that doesn't mean you're going to get 1 billion fans immediately. Like, that's not the path to
It does sound like they're just trying to slap it on because they felt it was hot,
But K-pop fans have very high standards. That's what they don't understand is like...
And it's unfortunate, too, because there's no reason to have to say, this is K-pop, guys. Please like it. Here's what's unnecessary about that. You do realize that K-pop, even though the two of us like it, listeners, presumably anybody listening likes K-pop. But the fact is, and this is objective reality, K-pop is new. It's like pop music exists before K-pop, guys. K-pop itself is piggybacking on pop music that was created in the West first. That doesn't mean it's inferior. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be a fan. That doesn't mean it's bad. But for God's sakes, certainly 4 girls from the UK don't have to piggyback then on K-pop to get clout and views and whatever. There's a long history of pop music that is great in the UK. Hello, Spice Girls. I'm pretty sure Spice Girls predates K-pop.
Oh my God, I was just thinking that. I was they should have just called this group the new Spice Girls or something.
You don't have to. 4 girls from the UK don't have to piggyback on K-pop. They can just say we're girls from the UK and we're doing pop music. Here's our stuff. Judge it on its own merit.
They resemble Spice Girls more than they resemble
there's no reason.
K-pop.
There's no reason to even piggyback on something that's even newer than the stuff that originated from your own country. One could argue that pop music has longest history in the UK, going all the way back to the Beatles, right? I mean, maybe they think it's They made a tactical decision to do it, but it's not necessary. Plenty of great pop groups have come from the UK, and way before Korea was even doing any kind of pop music.
The thing is, if you call something K-pop, people are gonna have very high standards, and this group, they weren't there yet as far as the visuals and as far as the dancing and the styling. They look like they weren't ready yet, because the teaser we saw was like, oh, they're not dancing that great, and like their look isn't really like super polished. It was like, you can't just like dye girls' hair and then have colorful outfits and it's like, well, that's K-pop. Like you got there's so much more that goes into it. It's like years and years of training and dancing and singing, you know?
And I'm not hating on them. I have nothing against them.
Like when they debut, I'm gonna watch their video and I'll give it a chance.
Yeah, if it's good, it's good. If it's not good, it's not good. They don't have to glom on to K-pop. That's unnecessary. And worse than that, it's not gonna stick. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna do them any good. So I would suggest just not doing that. Just presenting themselves as is. And if they're good, they're good.
I'll suggest they remove any reference to K-pop. Just call themselves whatever. You know, anything else. Just don't say that they're trying to be K-pop.
Right. And even if they keep saying they're K-pop, they're not harming K-pop by calling themselves K-pop or whatever, right? They're really just harming themselves, because they really should present themselves as a UK pop group. That's probably the best way for them to achieve success. They don't seem very good. I'm just objectively, though. I'm not hating on them, but they seem pretty rough around the edges.
Good luck to them, though.
Yeah.
There was a YouTube channel called The Asian Theory that had a video this week looking at who is the biggest boy band in history. And this video you shared with me, and it was comparing the Backstreet Boys to One Direction to BTS.
They compare them in different categories. Correct?
Yeah, it talked about
the categories.
Like a background of each band, and their criteria for comparison was commercial success, critical acclaim, and worldwide popularity. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of difficult to compare between eras because these are all different times. But they came to the conclusion that out of those three bands, the Backstreet Boys were the biggest out of the three. So they found that
they scored the highest in overall.
They felt that Backstreet Boys had the most critical acclaim, so the most awards, maybe not the most, but like the most of the relevant awards.
And sales and
the most commercial success, so which consists of record sales and box office, which I don't know what they mean by box office. Is just like,
well, I mean like
DVDs,
concert sales,
I guess.
Concerts.
Okay.
Ticket sales. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, ticket sales.
Tours. Okay, that's what that means. And but then they said BTS has the most worldwide popularity
at the moment. I mean, it's hard to compare. Obviously, I think that based on the way that it was set up, and I think it was, first of all, I saw the video, and I think it was thorough. I think it was fair. I think it was a good video. And I think the way they went about it was smart and fair. But even with that said, I think it always would have favored Backstreet Boys because they're the oldest group. So like they've had the most time to build up sales, to build up concert sales, things like that, right? So in a way, it sort of favors them. But in a way also, because Backstreet Boys, they're still going strong. They're still selling out concerts and things like that. But they deserve credit for that because not all groups go 20 years and they're still going strong. So, you know, just like One Direction, they're pretty much over right now, right? So you can say, well, Backstreet Boys, they've had 20 years. And so, of course, they have more of this and that. Like, but who says that they had to have gone 20, like...
Exactly. A lot of boy bands implode.
Right.
They don't even last.
Right. Like, look at NSYNC, for instance. It was very contemporaneous, right? So they deserve credit for still being there. So I do agree with it that Backstreet is bigger. I do think that BTS, they're still going strong. So who knows in the future? Maybe they'll be bigger. It's totally possible. I think at their peak, a better discussion would be who was the biggest at their peak. Because I think that, based on the fact that Backstreet is older and they're still going strong, of course, they're going to be favored. At their peak, I would say, and this is also really hard to compare because people don't buy records anymore. If you compare their record sales, of course, Backstreet's going to just blow them out of the water because people don't buy records. It's all about streaming and things like that, right? I would have to say BTS is bigger than Backstreet. Here's why. When Backstreet was at their height, would you say that the Backstreet Boys were the biggest boy group in the world? Maybe, maybe not. There was an argument that
it's
NSYNC...
like 50-50.
Yeah, maybe NSYNC, maybe all these other boy groups, right? There was other competition. Over time, those other groups disappeared.
They faded away.
They faded away for various reasons. Their members just were not interested in staying part of this whole thing. Their music was not quite as good, right? I think Backstreet Boys, just their music is better, so there's just going to be more longevity. So there's a lot of reasons, but at the time, you wouldn't say, yeah, they're the biggest by far. No question about it.
Yeah, like at the time of the Backstreet Boys, you wouldn't say, wow, I'm totally comparing them to the Beatles.
It just seemed like, okay, the Backstreet Boys are one of the big ones. But right now, it does feel like BTS feels bigger than Backstreet Boys ever felt. It felt like they're number one, and there's no argument about it. Backstreet Boys, you could argue NSYNC is bigger. Other groups are bigger.
There's 98 Degrees fans.
Nobody would say 90 degrees is bigger.
They're always like third place.
Yeah. But
like,
maybe other acts.
Like Britney Spears.
Right, exactly. But what other act is bigger than BTS? Nobody. You wouldn't say anybody.
Well, when I started this video and it was like, okay, we're going to compare Backstreet Boys, One Direction, and BTS. I was thinking, okay, well, this is a lock for BTS, but I'll watch this video anyway just to see what they're going to say.
Yeah.
But they made good points about Backstreet Boys. And it did seem like at the time of Backstreet Boys, everybody knew their songs, like their big songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody knew what those sounded like. But like right now, BTS's biggest songs, like if I just talked to the average person and like started singing one of the BTS songs, like most people are like, what are you talking about? Like I don't know that song at all.
That's true. That's a fair point. And furthermore, this is 20 years later, Backstreet Boys songs at karaoke. Everybody sings along. They're like, yay, and nostalgia and all this. But they all recognize it. They're like, yeah, let's all sing the Backstreet Boys now.
Yeah, and it's people that, okay, I know you didn't even like Backstreet Boys back in the day, but somehow you know that song.
I think it's fair to say that Backstreet is bigger than BTS. But it was only since last year that BTS really got on that level. So who knows what is in the future, right? And it was only since last year that BTS really started being more of not just a K-pop group, but more global, right? So who knows what is in their future? You might say, well, how much more could there be in BTS's future? They're already 26 years old, 27 years old, whatever, right? I'm pretty sure that at their height, Backstreet Boys were all older than that. They were kind of old, right? Yeah, it's just like a different time and standard. Right, so BTS. What I'm trying to say is BTS has a lot more in front of them than behind them.
They have plenty of time. To overtake. Backstreet Boys.
They could do different types of music. They can leverage their notoriety to work with the best people in the business and produce music that is more accessible to Western audiences. Not that they have to do that, but I'm gonna assume that they're gonna maybe move in that direction, right?
Yeah, I can't even think of a time like Backstreet Boys did a collaboration. Like that. I mean, I guess you don't have to from that time. You didn't have to be successful, but now that's
I'm just saying that BTS they're not towards the end of the line.
No.
They have plenty of time to get to that level. I think BTS has more energy behind it. It feels that way, but maybe that's just because, we live in 2020 where we have Twitter, we have social media, so you feel the force of the fandom more. Whereas before, maybe their fans were just as dedicated, but there's no social media.
You were all like separated. It was like you watched them on TV.
Yeah. So maybe you couldn't feel that.
There wasn't like internet or social media really.
Right. But as far as does the average person know your song? Backstreet Boys still has that advantage. And even back then they had that advantage. People could recognize their music, at least in the States, right? So I think it's fair to say that they're bigger and they remain bigger.
And then you could say, okay, BTS, they're foreign, so that's a disadvantage. But I feel like that's getting to be less and less of a disadvantage.
Well,
in the internet.
Well, here's the thing. It's a disadvantage, but so what? We're not handicapping you, right? I mean, when I say handicap, I mean like the golf definition, like you get points for being handicapped. No. We're just talking about results, right? The parameters were, which is the biggest boy band? In which case, yeah, I agree. Backstreet Boys is the biggest. And then BTS. And then One Direction.
What's funny is how One Direction didn't even really enter the argument here. They were just kind of shut out in all these categories.
Because they're just inferior. Even though they sold a lot of records. But then the thing is, like, remember, people used to sell more records. That doesn't mean as much anymore.
But I just wonder why. I mean, they're successful, but not as successful as Backstreet Boys.
Well, they broke up too, and Backstreet Boys never actually broke up.
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
One Direction existed for 4 years, and then they decided to all separate, or whatever they're calling it, a break.
An indefinite break. I'm pretty sure they're never getting back together. Although they could. I don't know. I was never a One Direction fan, so I don't care if they do. But
they made it sound like, okay, these three were the biggest in their times. But it's like One Direction didn't even kind of enter the argument.
Well,
here.
I mean, they were, because One Direction was just the only real big boy group for a while, right?
Yeah, but they were kind of like the last.
Right. But then at the end of that episode, at the end of that video, the twist is all of these pale in comparison to the Beatles, the original boy band.
Yeah.
Which, if you're educated at all, this is not even, we don't have to devote very much time to this. They are clearly number one by far, and they have not been supplanted, and it's very unlikely they will be supplanted. As far as the number of, the social impact, the number of hits that they've had, it's just so huge. But then it's fine. It's like, you don't have to be better than the Beatles. It's not some competition over history. That's just for people to discuss for fun. It's not incumbent upon you to try to quote unquote beat the Beatles. You probably won't. So why even go there? You know, probably nobody will, because that time is sort of gone. You'd have to have like 25 number one hits or something like that. And your music has to be played for like 50 years. That's a pretty tall order. It's unproductive and irrelevant to even hold anybody to that standard. Who cares, you know? But yeah, they were a boy band, technically, right? I think we could say that. Probably the most popular recording artists of all time. These are reality, so they are number one.
It's like, to this day in Spotify, they're like one of the top 5 groups,
right.
Always.
Right.
A dead group is like in the top 5. Always.
2 of their members are dead. So yeah, they're not going to be on the same level. But you don't have to be on the same level. It's just like, there's no need to say, oh well, if you don't compare to that, then you're no.
Yeah,
it's just a different.
It's not about everybody compare everybody to the Beatles.
Yeah,
like,
it's not about that.
You can succeed as your own
right.
group. You don't have to compare anything.
Right. People can enjoy your stuff, and it's fun to talk about sometimes. You know, just like it's on sports talk radio, they talk about this, and that. It's not a contest like who is the greatest basketball player.
It's just a conversation to have.
But yes, the logical conclusion of that conversation is correct. The Beatles were the biggest. But then they also have the advantage maybe of, you know, it will never be like that again. Music wasn't so democratic. There's no YouTube. You couldn't just go seek out whatever you want, right? Things were more funneled and curated. Like, decision makers would sort of determine what it is you listen to, what was popular, what was available. But these days, these decision makers can't determine what's available. You can listen to anything you want on the YouTube, right? You don't have to listen. Think about if you were in like 1965 or whatever, what could you listen to? The radio. Well, we all know the radio just plays like the same 12 songs. Who decides what the 12 songs are? And are the Beatles part of that? That's not to take anything away from the Beatles. They still made good songs, great songs, right? But in today's...
There's only a few people that decide what's on the radio. Yeah. And then back then there was only like a couple of network channels. So when they were on the Ed Sullivan Show, of course that's going to be a huge thing all over the country.
Right. So would they be as popular today with YouTube and social media and all that?
All the competition?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Maybe they
Maybe
wouldn't
yes, but maybe no as well. In my opinion, they would be less popular because people have so many options. Even if they were making music today, they would probably still be the most talented people making music. But would you have the same following?
And people have shorter attention spans now. Like, if your first song wasn't amazing, then you're kind of written off.
So, no, they probably wouldn't be the same phenomenon that they were back then. It doesn't detract anything. So it was an interesting video, though.
Yeah, check it out on YouTube. Thank you to our guest, Morgan. You can find BTS Happy Hour on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, Castbox, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. New episodes weekly. Please comment, review, or rate in the podcast platform you're using. Follow us on Twitter @OurBTS. Until next time, this has been the BTS Happy Hour. Thanks for listening, and remember, make every hour a happy one.